Well, here we are in Cleveland talking about the Royal Enfield. Now, this bike has been around for a lot of years, but it seems like you kind of saw a little bit of change in the company. What can you tell me about Royal Enfield?
Do I grab this from you?
You can. If you want. Oh,
I like the mic.
I'm out.
Actually, Royal Enfield is the oldest continuous running motorcycle company in the world. So we've been around since 1901, and before that, we were known as Enfield Guns, and that was back in the 1890s. There was quite a time where Royal Enfields weren't distributed here in the U.S., and actually for the past 20 years, there was a distributor. He wasn't part of Royal Enfield, the brand. And since the company has grown so big and so large in India, they said, well, let's look at other places in the world and maybe we can have some influence and really bring the bike back into the market, the motorcycle back into the market. So as of January 1st, 2016, Royal Enfield North America is the first wholly owned subsidiary outside of India to exist. They will start looking at other markets, but we are the first outside of India, so we plan on making big waves here.
Now, tell me a little bit about how you can interview me. I love this. Okay, this is my favorite time right here. I don't have to do anything. I noticed, like, obviously they're more street-built bikes. I mean, are they coming around with anything different, getting it off the roadway too, or?
Funny you asked that. Last week we had a pre-launch and we announced the production of a bike called the Himalayan.
Okay.
And we'll have the full launch on February 2nd, which will provide details of the bike. But it's an ADV kind of bike, off-road, on-road. So that was a good question.
Well, I do my homework, so. now, the question I have, too, about the Royal Enfield, what was their primary, was this actually a military, the bike we're in front of, obviously, is military. Is that something that they tried to gear toward?
Not that I think that they try to gear toward, but back in the company, back in like the 30s, 40s, and 50s, it was used as a military bike a lot, and especially over in India. And that's one of the reasons why they moved production over to India, is that the Indian military was using this as their primary mode of transportation. So we've kept the classic styling of that bike, and this model is not offered over in India because it's still used by the Indian military over there. So it's not available to the consumer. It's available here for the consumer. And we get a lot of people from India saying, we really want this bike, but we can't get it because the Indian military still uses it.
Now, have you had a chance to go to India yourself yet?
Yes, I have. Yes. So in July, I got to go and tour both the factories, the original one from 1955, and knowing that it still operates and still builds some of the motorcycle brand out of there was amazing. And then we went to the new factory that was opened about 2 years ago, and it's a state-of-the-art facility. Like the paint, it's just amazing. The welding, the machining, it's out of this world.
So now there's not a lot of robotics, though, involved with building these bikes at all, is there really? As far as like they do with some American bikes or some of the Japanese bikes, I know they use a lot of non-human things. Do they do that with Royal Enfield?
Well, I don't know. There are robotic aspects, like the paint of the bike. Now, we still do the pinstriping by hand.
Yeah.
So we still have, and the brothers that have been doing it for 30 years are the same brothers that are doing it now. But so the paint thing is state of the art. So something like another brand I'm not going to mention because I don't want to promote another brand. But there are robotic aspects to it.
Okay.
But the motorcycle is hand built, and
And that's kind of what I was thinking, too. Now, the other question I would ask is, I know India, I've never been there myself, but there's a lot of motorcycle population over there. And I know in the United States we have many, many brands that are out. Mm-hmm. But Royal Enfield, obviously, like you said, it's going to make some waves one way or the other. What type of rider do you think would this bike appeal to more than any other, do you think?
So I don't think there's one specific type. You have to look at a couple things. Someone who loves the nostalgic factor of this bike, right? So someone that wants to feel like they own a piece of history but not have to work on a piece of history. So you have like the nostalgic the classic styling, but the modern technology. Someone whose dad owned this bike, and they want to feel closer to their dad or their grandfather. Then you have the urban commuter, right? Okay. Someone who doesn't need a crazy, powerful bike blasting them down like the city streets. This is perfect for the urban environment. Right. It's great for women riders, women that maybe have been a little timid and a little afraid to go ride like what would you call it, a crotch rocket or something like that. Yeah. This bike is an extremely gentle bike for you, and it doesn't throw you off and buck you like a Bronco. Yeah. And then you got to look at the beginning riders, people that again don't necessarily need 900 cc's between their legs and popping wheelies all the time. And not that all people that ride big bikes pop wheelies.
Some people do.
Some people. I might have accidentally in the past, not on purpose. But I think there's many different demographics for this bike. And you know, I love it. I'm a woman. I'm an urban commuter. It's a nostalgia factor. My dad was a motorcycle owner, so I kind of fit, like, you know, all the molds.
You're the typical then.
Yeah, and it's a good secondary bike,
Oh, okay.
you know. So say someone rides a big hog or something like that, but you know, they maybe don't need all that for going to point A to point B or shorter commutes. Then they can just go ahead and take this bike and, you know, switch off.
And they are built that way. Now I do notice one thing on these that I see very common: Kickstarters. You don't see a lot of bike with kick anymore. And then secondly, I'm wondering too, what is the average CC? I mean, how many different models do they actually make?
Okay, so that was like 5 questions, but we'll start with the first one. The kick aspect. A lot of people love the nostalgic factor of a Kickstarter, right? So we have the option. You have the electric start or the kickstart. I can tell you on the Royal Enfields that I own, I've never had to use the kickstart, but I use it as often as I can because I love using it.
Yeah, it's cool.
You know, and it just makes you feel like you have that old bike, but it's not the old bike. And you say, oh, well, maybe one day I just want to use electric start and be modern and all this kind of technology. And then one day I want to do the kickstart.
Okay.
Second question, how many models do we have?
Right.
Okay, so here in the U.S., we carry 3 models. They're all 500 cc's. Granted, the Continental GT is a 535, and that comes with a larger bore. That's why it's a 535. And I think he says to wrap it up.
You know, he says we should walk
Oh, okay, let's walk around.
He wants other bikes.
Oh, you want other bikes?
Yeah, let's go take a look.
Okay, so this is a Bullet.
Yeah.
So again, this is 500 cc, just like all our other models. This is so we have the Bullet, we have the Continental GT, and we have the Classic. Now the Classic comes in many different. We have the Classic Chrome, then we have a Classic that we don't have here on the showroom floor because our floor space is so small. Then we have the Bullet, and that comes in 2 colors, and then we have the GT that's now carried here in the U.S. in 2 colors.
Walk this way.
This is a stock version of the Continental GT. This is bringing it back to that 1965 Continental GT that they did. Okay, so they still wanted to stay on brand. They still wanted to look at what they did back then, but with modern technology.
And you know what's funny too is, I mean, I'm a kind of I like my cafe racer bikes too. So this one would appeal to me directly because of the style. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think this is something that, and again, like you said, a second bike, maybe a third bike even.
Yep.
This would be the one for me.
So I just got back from India for a second time, and I rode one of our stock GTs from Mumbai to Goa, and I had a blast riding this bike. I love it.
We're going to have to do a whole other show on you. Here we go, Jeff. We're going to talk about that. So we do that. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, now in these bikes, I mean, obviously, we won't talk price because I'm thinking if you have to ask, you probably don't really, you know, you maybe.
We can talk about it if you'd like.
I mean, do you need to lay down a bunch of Benjamins, or what are you looking at?
That's the crazy thing. You don't. You're not going to break your bank to buy one of these motorcycles, and then you can spend money customizing it to make it the perfect fit for you. Our GT stock is $5,900.
Really?
$5,900. I had a guy come over here earlier without seeing the price, and he said, well, how much is this motorcycle, like 10 or 11 grand? And when I told him, he had to take a seat because he didn't believe me.
Did he grab his wallet and?
Well, if I was selling them off the floor, I would have said, grab your wallet.
Yeah.
The bike here in the middle, the Bullet 500, actually MSRP here in the United States is $4,900.
That's crazy.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Our Classic Chrome that those gentlemen are pawing over there is $57.99.
Okay.
And then our military is $54.
Wow. What's this one over here?
So this is actually a custom bike that we did. We took this red Continental GT and we decided to have a little fun to show people that it's very easy to customize and it's not going to break your bank to do it.
Sure.
So we did the paint job. We changed it to a matte black with a shiny finish down the gas tank. We changed the mirrors, the headlight, the shocks, and the exhaust on this bike.
I tell you what, I'm anxious to see that Himalayan though, because I have a couple bikes myself right now, and I actually keep looking toward the adventure bike because that's something I used to do a lot years ago, and I don't know if I'm too old to do it, but I would still go for something a little more unique than just buying your Japanese bike.
Yeah, I cannot tell you how personally I'm excited about this, and as a brand in Royal Enfield North America, we are all excited about this motorcycle and can't wait for the official launch on February 2nd.
Now, where are you from? Where's your dealerships located mostly?
So I work for headquarters. So I'm actually Royal Enfield North America. We are headquartered in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh, Of all places.
Of all Harley's backyard or somebody's backyard, I heard, but I think we're going to make everyone else have it in our backyard. We are expanding our dealer network to about 100 dealers for 2016. We have, and I said before, we just came in the market officially January 1st. So we have a lot of things that we have to transition over from the old distributor and actually come in here as the manufacturer. And one thing is we're looking at what kind of dealers, what do we think fits, what the demographic is, and everything like that. And are we going to be able to reach urban people in that environment? Are we going to be able to reach women riders? Are we going to be able to reach out to people that have a bike and maybe are looking for a second bike? There's a lot of things that we're looking at when we're looking at dealerships.
No, I think in Fun Rides Bike Nights, we've never talked about the bike business, but Jeff, if we can floor plan, we could probably buy a bunch of these and sell them.
I'm okay with that. And you know the price point, right?
Yeah.
And you know how great this brand is already. So I think it's a win-win situation.
We have a lot of fans, a lot of fun people that go out to Fun Rides Bike Nights that we know that would probably go, hey, why didn't you guys, where can we get one of these? So that's what we're trying to make sure that people know the Royal Enfield is here and it's going to stay.
Well, I think you should keep in touch with us, and then we can share some news and maybe get you guys to, buy a couple of these and tool around town on.
That we would have a good time doing it too.
I bet you would.
We need some luggage racks for the cameras and the gear, but we can do that custom, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can customize anything you want. That's the great thing about any motorcycle is you have the ability to really make it the bike that you want it. If it's maybe you need some more sass on it, or you just want to change the mirrors out, or whatever. Any bike's customizable.
That's pretty cool. Well, Bree, it's been I appreciate all your time. This is a cool thing. I mean, I'm telling you right now, people are going to be excited, and I'm glad to see you so excited about this. The only thing is, I think you ought to give away a trip to India or something, maybe that some people could win. What do you think of that idea?
Oh, it's kind of weird. Oh, whoa! I'm giving away a motorcycle. All you have to do is sign up.
What if you go to India?
That might be next year's trip. So next year I might give away a trip to India. Yeah. This year I'm giving away a motorcycle.
Sign me up.
So all you have to do is come find me at any of the remaining IMS shows, including this one, or send in your entry to me. Yeah. And then at the end of February, I will announce the winner.
We'll know that. Maybe we'll throw it on our website.
That'd be great. I'll give you the link.
All right, sounds good. Yeah. I'm taking my mic back now. But you can
Thanks for letting me steal it.
You want to keep that?
No.
Well, Royal Enfield is here, Cleveland. If you missed the show, sorry about your luck, but you said there's more shows to come. And Royal Enfield, hey, find them. Find a dealer. Come and see them.